Well, welcome everybody to our weekly night mindful moments. Every Wednesday at 7:30 Mountain Standard Time, we come live here on Instagram and talk about different topics every week. We will be moving, as a reminder, friendly reminder, we are going to be moving to YouTube as of October, the first week in October. So if you haven't already liked and followed us on our YouTube channel, please subscribe because that's where you're going to find our mindful moments is over there. And feel free to share with your friends and family as well. We love and appreciate all the support that everybody's been giving us. And to find our YouTube channel link, you can find it in our highlights under the mindful moments. We often share it through our stories, and it's also in our link trees as well. And you can even personally DM us too if you prefer, and we can just send you the link directly as well.
And it's free to support us.
Yeah, supporting each other is absolutely free. So we really appreciate that. And thank you in advance for everybody who has already supported us and have subscribed. And for those of you who plan to in the near future.
Absolutely.
So a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about green flags in people and things to recognize and everything. And so today, as mentioned, we are going to be talking about red flags as well. We're going to be kind of doing a series. And then the last week of this month, we're planning to bring on someone as well for an interview. So stay tuned for that. So that's live. Be prepared. That one will be an hour long because we are going to be interviewing someone. So it'll be from 7:30 till 8:30. And it will be still live here. But then moving forward, don't forget to go follow us on YouTube because that's where we're going to be moving. And once a month, we are going to be bringing on someone to interview them. So we got lots of exciting things in the works, and we're super excited.
And we're starting to learn a little bit more about YouTube. So we're doing some shorts, and we have some other fun ideas we're going to do eventually. So
Yeah, exactly. It's been a learning process.
And we thank you for your patience while we're learning.
Exactly. And the next thing to learn will be how to go live on YouTube. So you won't want to miss our first one because it might be one of the best ones, maybe, to be on.
Absolutely.
And
But
then
as long as you can laugh at yourself, that's so good.
exactly. Exactly. We'll be laughing with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. So speaking of red flags, before we get into the topic, everybody that's watching, what would you consider a red flag in someone, like in a relationship or even a friend? Like, what would be a red flag to you that you're like, oh, like I better watch out for this, or if you want to just list it in the comments.
Yeah, if you guys can list some red flags or things that are like warning signs to you in the comments. We have some, but we want to see if we can build on yours as well.
Yes. Yes, rudeness and disrespecting someone, definitely.
And when you see somebody else disrespecting somebody else, I still think they're able to do that, if they're able to do that to somebody else, maybe that's a part of them, right?
Yeah.
And something you may not, well, where to start
Yeah.
exactly. I find that maybe it's because there's a lot more awareness nowadays, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of like, I just feel toxic behaviors. And I mean, there's lots of amazing people, and I feel very fortunate to have so many amazing people in my life. But yeah, there are a lot of different kinds of red flags, some that are really like apparent and other ones that are a little more hidden.
Yeah. And it's the hidden ones you got to be really cautious of. I know in the past I wasn't that great at recognizing the red flags, so I got myself in a lot of terrible situations.
Me
But
too.
but as you kind of learn and you grow and you notice all these red flags in people, like friendships or relationships or whatever, you become more aware. And it's
Yeah,
easier to kind of pick them out because, like she said, some are very subtle that you don't really notice it until it gets like really bad.
absolutely. And I really believe, like, I mean, The one thing we haven't done on our YouTube, which we will eventually, is our whys. But coming from knowing that we've been in really bad relationships, um, it's almost like exactly what they say is that boiling frog, right? Like the frog goes in the water and he's there, and it slowly, slowly, slowly turns up. And it's so insidious that sometimes if you're really not being aware and mindful, it can sneak up on you, and then you're in way deeper
Yeah,
than what you realize, you know?
exactly. And then it's sometimes can be really hard to get out of those situations too.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the red flags and behaviors that these people have, they can really brainwash you.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And as we were talking just before we came on here, is gaslighting. Um, I think for 2022 or 2023, it was the word of the year or something they were saying from the dictionary was gaslighting, because it's really just become more and more known and talked about. But when somebody is like having you doubt your reality, when you start to say something and somebody is making you second guess yourself, that's not healthy.
Yeah,
That's gaslighting,
exactly.
and
I
that's
know
way
that was,
more like insidious and like quiet, right?
yeah. Yeah, that kind you don't really notice till it kind of creeps up on you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Or like, you know,
Yes, narcissists are definitely experts at gaslighting.
yeah,
One of my recent exes was a narcissist, and also
yeah,
I was very scared to get out of that relationship as well because of all of his behaviors, and it was, yeah, a little bit of a scary person.
yeah, yeah. They can be really scary, and it's also taking that shame and that blame and that guilt away from you. Like you have to remove that to be able to leave the relationship, because you shouldn't feel so shameful, or you shouldn't feel guilty or anything like that, because that's not your behaviors, it's their behaviors. But sometimes, because it's projected onto us, which is like another one, but it's projected though, it's your fault and I behaved this way because you did this, those kind of things. Sometimes when you're kind, and people pleasers a little bit, and maybe if you don't have your boundaries as strong, which I mean, I think both of us have learned over
Yeah,
time to really build all of those. Um, but yeah, sometimes you can carry that for somebody, and that's not yours to carry.
yeah, no, exactly. And setting boundaries is so important. I've really learned how to set boundaries, especially over the last like past few years.
Yeah, yeah. And boundaries, the
With
one
all
thing that really gets,
relationships, with all, yeah, with all relationships.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. No,
Yeah,
absolutely. You're right. All of them. And the one thing that really, I guess, hits home is because, talking to people, when we talk to people, we talk like all about boundaries, and people are like, oh, well, I feel guilty, or maybe this will make them mad, or those kind of things. But stepping back and looking at it as though it's a self-respect
yeah,
thing, right? Is you're respecting yourself if you're setting those boundaries. And those boundaries aren't control on anyone else. So it's not like if you do this, I'll do this, or you can't do this. It's when this happens, this is how I will respond. So, if you start to yell at me or call me names, that's my boundary. I will not accept that, so I will leave. Right? So it's what
yeah,
you will do to enforce the boundary. It's not what trying to control and somebody else will do.
yeah, exactly. And I think being as an empath, it does make it a little bit harder for me to like I've had a hard time
Absolutely.
like kind of setting my boundaries because like Emma said, I'm like, oh, I feel bad. I don't want them to think this way. And it really stuck out to me when you actually told me because you said what you just said now, you had said to me a couple of, like not to like go way back a little bit
Yeah.
and said, no, it shows that you have self-respect for yourself. And that really stuck out a lot. I was like, yeah, I do respect myself. I'm not going to let this person take advantage of me or like overstep my boundaries and treat me the way that they are or make me feel that way.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, so you've been actually a big help on like setting. I know I've like been like setting boundaries over the years because I've been through a lot in life, but there are still some certain things that because I am like a little bit of like, I want to keep people happy and I don't want to, but having
Yeah.
boundaries is important.
And I used to think that I knew how to set boundaries, and I used to be like, yeah, I'm okay with this and not with this, but they were so loosely defined that, and having loose boundaries, somebody can cross that boundary and then it's okay, but then another day they can't cross it and you're like, hey, that's not okay, like those wishy-washy kind of things actually give somebody like mixed messages, right? So us needing to be like firm and what our boundaries are and what we're willing to accept and not accept. So but it's a learning process because I used to think, okay, I know what this is, but just because I know it doesn't mean that I'm implementing it properly or those kind of things.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Still learning all the
Me
time.
too. There's still lots to learn.
Absolutely.
And
Um, and guilt, that's another one. Like I feel like that's like that cohesive control, right? So it's like, if you're it's about a relationship partnership, not ownership. And that's one thing that always sticks in my head, right? So if somebody's going out, you can be like, have a good night, like, I'll see you when you get home, like have a good time, those kind of things. But if somebody's like, oh, like you can tell their mood shifts or they're upset or those kind of things, or you're fearful when you get home what's going to happen, then that's cohesive control because they're not telling you not to go out, but it's not going to be good when you get home. Um, so really watching for that kind of stuff because people, especially who are people pleasers or empaths, we allow that to weigh on us, and the guilt and somebody else's behaviors and feelings are not our responsibility. There's a big thing here.
exactly.
Yeah, we all have to be open to
Yeah,
learning, absolutely. And
definitely.
sorry, I'm just reading this. I didn't need my glasses. There's a case, I don't mind.
Learning how to handle the person too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, definitely.
absolutely agree. And there's like when we were talking about that cohesive control too and talking about like making you feel guilty or trying to put those guilt on you for doing things, that's an isolation too. And people who are
And,
like trying to isolate you or don't want to open up and those kind of things, that's really worrisome.
I
The one
isolate you
thing
from
that
your friends and family. Like
absolutely,
some
absolutely.
other people that care about you, right? They want to isolate you so they can really brainwash you.
That's right. Absolutely. And the one thing that I'm so grateful of and I look and I'm thankful because if you look at us like on Facebook and stuff, we have so many of the same people that we know and they're like positive people, right? So like we're all wanting everyone to be friends and support everyone. So we're wanting to build that community and that network together, and that's what we want here as well, is to have a safe community and network of people where people are following each other, being friends, supporting, all that kind of
Each
stuff.
other. Yeah. And in a positive community too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so talking about the boundaries is pushing somebody's boundaries, right? Or
Yeah.
questioning your boundaries and that kind of stuff. That's pretty toxic. And we have listed some of the ones that are just kind of the well-known ones, such as financial abuse, spiritual abuse, physical or
Physical.
emotional abuse.
Yeah. Manipulation. Insulting.
Yeah, even if they say, "Oh, that was just a joke," it's not. It's not
No.
a joke, right? Like when it affects somebody or like their feelings and really pulls somebody out of their comfort zone puts them on the spot kind of thing uncomfortably, um, then that's toxic.
Yeah, very toxic behavior. And if you notice these red flags, it's good to make sure that you exit that relationship immediately.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, has anybody experienced anything else than what we've talked about? There's so many of them, but just looking to see if anybody has experienced anything else.
Yeah, feel free to share in the comments.
And it's good. What have you like? What do you think when we go on our social media platforms and stuff, and we're vulnerable? I think we're opening up and we're telling some of our story, which you told your story the other day, which was beautiful how you put it. Um, on Facebook, and it's really inspiring and stuff. And I just think that's beautiful, and it touches people, and it lets people know that yes, like there is a way through this, and there are people there to care and support. And I think it's beautiful. But I also always think too, like, if the wrong people are reading it and those kind of things. So we're always having to like look out for each other, and support
Yeah.
each other. The
And when people
vulnerability
are
is beautiful.
vulnerable, when people are vulnerable like that, yes, you gotta watch out because that's when people like to prey, like narcissist people.
Yeah,
That's what happened to me a few
absolutely.
years ago. As someone was on my Facebook, they saw my like, that I was kind of in a vulnerable state. And that's when they reached out to me when I was at my most vulnerable. And that's when those kind of people really prey on people like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, people having trauma, or
Yeah.
things happening in their own life. One thing that I mean, there's a bunch of little sayings that I go by, because I mean, I have a lot of trauma in my past too, but I want to lean on people, not bleed on people, you know? So I always have to like think, um, because we going into any situation, any relationship, even if we're going into say like a business meeting, our perception is based on what we know, right? Is
Yeah.
based on our emotions, what we know, what we've experienced, those kind of things, because we can't base something on something we haven't experienced before, right? So that's
Yeah.
always adding a little bit of cloudy judgment, right? So it's important to go in a bit open-minded and with a positive attitude and those kind of things.
Yes.
And we
It's like,
find even with our business is meeting the right people. The right people come and are attracted to our business, and seeing that we have like fun challenges, which we do. So if you're ever interested in joining, but we have fun like fitness challenges, and it's not competitive. It's very supportive. But
everybody's supposed
people
to have,
need that.
and you're part of like a winning, supportive like community, people that actually genuinely love and care about you and they uplift you, right?
Yeah,
That's actually like I know I shared that in part of my story yesterday too, because not only have the supplements made a huge impact in my like the way I feel and everything, it helps me with my anxiety and stress and the list could go on.
yeah,
But the community, being a part of an amazing community that supports you through everything, who uplifts you, cheers you on all the time, that makes a big difference as well and brings so much
absolutely.
extra positivity into your life as well.
Absolutely. And I know like that we live in different places, but when we get together, we have a lot of fun, we laugh together, and it's like energized, like you leave feeling energized, you don't leave feeling drained. And that's like
Exactly. That's
huge energy.
that's actually a red flag too. Now that you said that, if you're hanging out with someone and you leave them and you feel stressed, even if like you could just feel their energy and you feel stressed, or like, when you leave someone, you should feel uplifted and happy and good.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's so important to be in a like-minded tribe.
Yeah. You vibe with your tribe.
That's right.
That's just another one of my little sayings. I don't know where I pick
God
them
with your
up from,
tribe.
all sorts of places.
And from being like vulnerable and sharing your story and your life, that's when you attract your like-minded people to you as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's just a very, very small little tidbit that we have on that. Next week, we're going to continue and kind of talk about. So if you can think, pre-think, and come to us with some ideas as well of how to work through some of this, how to kind of end a friendship or leave, safely and deal with some of that conflict. Um, and we're going to talk about some conflict management and appropriate ways to deal with, maybe toxic people. I tell you 30 days.
Oh, wow, way to go. You said you increased the weight to 35.
30.
I bet you're feeling it today then.
That's awesome. Good for you. Hi, welcome. So
Yes,
thank you for joining. And so we will be on next Wednesday, 7:30 Mountain Standard Time, where we'll talk about kind of coming through some of this. It'll be kind of a sequel, and then if all goes well, the next week we are hoping, so 2 weeks, we're hoping to have someone specific come on with talking about boundaries, and it will be really great. Hurting.
pain is good. That means you got a good workout.
Absolutely. It's a good feeling, pain. So if you can follow, and as Chandra was saying, October we're going to start on our YouTube. So if you can go to our highlights or our where it says mindful moments or our stories or our link trees, it's all there. So if you can go and follow us, that would be wonderful. It helps us to gain momentum, and the more people that are following, then the more it kind of pushes our content out.
Yes. And feel free to share with anybody and everybody as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And speaking of our challenge, it's not too late to join either. If anybody
Yep.
wants to join our 30-day ab and squat challenge, let us know. We do have an accountability prize as well for a $25 Amazon card too. So yeah, if anybody wants to join, it's never too late. You can join in at any time.
And it's lots of support and just lots of fun.
So yeah, so just send us a private DM if you would like to join, and we'll make sure to send you the PDF, and you can let us know what level of fitness you are, and we will send you workouts.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that is on our Facebook. So yeah, you'd have to send us a DM, and then we can bring you into that, and we'd be excited to have you join our team.
Yes,
And come
and thank
vibe
you
with
so
our
much.
tribe.
That's right. And thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to be here with us. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. We love you all. And we hope you have a
Absolutely.
wonderful evening.
Bye.
Sending lots
Sending
of love and
love.
light. I don't mind my squished finger. Squished my finger at the end.
Bye,
Have a wonderful night,
everybody.
everybody. Love you all.
Hey, good night.